Yo guys, what's going on? This is Tony here with my 1K sub special. Sorry this video is so late, guys. As you could probably tell when you clicked on it, it is a long video and it took me so much time to edit. I've actually probably spent around 15 hours or so to make this whole video. Well, like the audio I had to record separately, so that was 2 hours. The actual gameplay was 4 hours. And then the editing, that was forever. It was a good like 10 hours, guys. This took me a lot of time. That's why I haven't uploaded recently. I've been working on this video, trying to get ready for you guys, but finally we have it. It is, of course, the classic Lavaloon deck here, as you can see on my profile, or not profile, but you know, right here in game. As you can see, it's this deck versus literally as many other decks that I could find in about 4 hours of playing. So I literally just played for like one day I sat down, played 4 hours of challenges in ladder, just recorded the matches, and then I literally picked through all the gameplay and tried to find as many different matchups as possible and include them. If there isn't a matchup that you guys wanted to see, really sorry. I tried my best, guys. It's a lot of content. I mean, if I played this many hours and didn't play against it, I don't really know what to say. But this video should be very helpful to any aspiring classic Lavaloon players. I mean, if you're ever struggling with a matchup, I have all the timestamps down below. You can just come back to this video, click it, scroll down, find what you're looking for, and you just hop to that point in the video. So, you know, if you want to save this video, it should be very helpful for the future. If you ever lose a matchup and are wondering, like, what I do wrong, come revisit this video. So, other than that, as you guys can probably see, I have a new overlay, which was done by Barry GFX, so I'll actually leave his Twitter in the description below, probably right above the timestamps. But yeah, it's sick. I love it. Obviously, the face cam, that's not me, guys. I don't know if you know what I look like, but that's not me. That's a friend, Parker. For this video, I didn't think the overlay would be actually done in time, or like by the, you know, when I was filming it. So I didn't you know, record with face cam, but it actually was done, so I could have. So I kind of, you know, screwed that one up, but it's whatever, guys. My video tomorrow, which should be Monday the 14th, if I don't butcher this this upload, that one should have face cam, so be looking forward to that, guys. But today's video, unfortunately, no face cam. I just threw Parker's face there as a joke, you know. We're good friends, so, you know, playing around. But other than that, guys, I really think I covered everything. How this video is going to be formatted is I have split everything into different archetypes, so I can actually read those out real quick for you guys. We're going to start with Bridge Spam, Fireball Bait, then we're going to go to Giant Beatdown, then Golem Beatdown, then E-Golem Beatdown, then Lavaloon Beatdown, and then go over the Cycle decks of the game, and then Siege decks, and then a category that I called Buildup, which is a lot of the, you know, the Graveyard type decks, the Spawner decks, those things. And then the Offmeta / counter deck section, which is kind of just a compilation of decks that you might see sometimes, but more on the how do you beat the Wizard, Executioner, Inferno Dragon type decks that you will experience in mid-ladder. So that's kind of the format. Those are all the decks I got for you. So if you're looking for a specific matchup, I highly recommend not watching this whole video. I mean, you can if you really are trying to learn Lavaloon for the roots. Obviously, there'd be a lot to take in at 2 hours. But this is more if you're struggling with a specific matchup, go to the description, find your timestamp. It'll take you to what you need to see. And yeah, so I expect you guys to be hopping around a lot. Like I said, don't watch this whole video. It'll be overwhelming. But I mean, hey, if you want to, I'd take the watch time. But that's it, guys. I guess I'll be back with the Bridge Spam and the Fireball Bait. The match is there. Okay, guys, real quick before we get into the first set of games, don't forget to like this video if you enjoy it and subscribe to the channel for, you know, similar content. I just hit 1K. I'm actually, you know, well over 1K at this point due to the CWA shout out. But you know, I want to keep growing, want to keep grinding. So if you do enjoy, please remember to subscribe. Also, it'll help you find this video again. I probably will pin this video on like my channel and stuff because this took a lot of work and this is probably my most helpful video, or it should be at least, for most classic Lavaloon players. So other than that, let's just finally get into the first games. Okay, guys, as this first replay rolls, I'm going to talk a little bit about the formatting real fast before I specifically talk about these fireball bait decks and the Bridgespams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one match against just any deck that fits the category. So for this one, it's obviously a 3 Musketeers, which is, fireball bait. But it'll just be any random matchup that fits the criteria. It probably won't be the best match, I'm not going to lie. Like, it won't be that close or anything, as it is hard to get duplicate games, to work. So a lot of these are going to be against not the best players. But that's just kind of what the first game is, as I talk about, in general, how to beat all the matchups. And then I'll obviously go more into specifics as I, label specific decks. I'll, talk more specifically. But in general, against Bridgespam and Fireball Bait, I'll start with Bridgespam because they are pretty different. I'll start quickly with Pekka Bridgespam. You want to basically always same lane against any Bridgespam deck without Inferno Dragon. So if it's not one of the Ram Rider Inferno Dragon decks, then you always want to same lane whatever your lowest tower is. You just want to same lane because most Bridgespam decks struggle by not having enough air defense. Now, this is the same with most Fireball Bait decks that have Musketeer. There also are the obviously 3 Musketeer decks. You do want to same lane them 2 Musketeers. So really almost every Bridgespam or Fireball Bait deck, you want to same lane their pushes with yours. Only reason you don't is if they have the Inferno Dragon, because like I said, the Inferno Dragon just gets too much value and shreds your stuff too fast. Now, another big thing in these matchups is you gotta know when to fireball. You don't specifically have to fireball always, one specific unit. I guess like maybe 3 Musketeers, you should always fireball them. But if you think that it's enough value to fireball, go for the fireball, guys. It really is worth it. It really is that simple. Just kind of go with your gut sometimes. But do know if you burn a bad fireball, you're going to have to play some really insane defense if you want to, clutch up and win that game. So, keep that in mind when you're throwing your fireballs. Just in general, in those matchups, be very, very, very cognizant of what you do with the fireball, because fireball is a huge asset in both of these matchups, or against both of these decks, I guess you could say. But other than that, other things, I really don't think there's much other than specifics, but I'll leave those for the specific game. So I think that's it, guys. I'll just be back with the next specific match. Okay, guys, the first of the Bridgespam decks, the classic Pekka Bridgespam. This deck is very easy matchup for Lavaloon, so if you're struggling against it, guys, it's really not that hard. The biggest thing is in this matchup that you have to do is you just have to same lane the Pekka. I already mentioned this in the quick little intro if you saw it, but guys, the Pekka is really, honestly, they shouldn't really play their Pekka. If they do, they're kind of screwing up. A lot of the times you'll play really weird Barb placements. Like, you just saw me do one. A lot of splitting Barbs if they try to go same lanes. You always want to Lava Hound whatever tower you have that's weaker, and always same lane, with your Lava Hound against Pekkas. Also, they have a very, very, lack of defensive counters for your Loon and stuff. So, just in this video, or this game, I guess, my Loon just took his whole tower because he used his E-Wiz early. So you guys got to remember, they only have E-Wiz, they only have Magic Archer. You can play pretty aggressive with your balloons. Now, you also have to be willing to take some damage. So basically, I traded. I was willing to take a little bit, of damage from both my lanes, but I took his whole tower. And once you get a tower down in this matchup, it becomes so much easier, guys. So I really recommend trying to tower trade early, trying to, defend, or not defend, sorry, the opposite of defend. And literally right here, I just focus on building up Elixir, because, guys, they can't stop a Lavaloon push. So be willing to take a lot of damage in this matchup. A lot of Lavaloon players, they don't like to do that. But in this matchup, you have to be willing to take a ton of damage, because there's just really no reason not to. And just here, you'll see how hard it is for him to defend a Lavaloon push. It's like a stone wall. It's so difficult to deal with. And, even if you do lose your towers, or you lose both of them, even in a 3-crown situation, as long as you can just put an air unit behind your Lava Hound, they can't kill it, guys. They don't have enough air to be able to kill your air units well enough. And I mean, literally, you could just see me as I go for this another Lava Hound. I've already realized that my left tower, it's going to fall. I don't really care because I know that I'm able to defend even if he like Pekka. Barbarians get so much value. So what you want them to do is you want them to stack up all their units. I mean, look at him. He's going for Barbs. He's going for a Battle Ram. Look at all these units, and it looks so intimidating, but they just aren't able to both use, like, they don't have the air counters to be able to go on offense and defense. So just like this, we're going to 3-crown him. But like I said, guys, just make sure you spam your air units in safe positions, and really they're not able to kill your defensive air units while defending your offensive air units. Okay, guys, next matchup is a doozy. This one is very tough for most people. It's a hard matchup. I'm not going to lie. I couldn't find the classic one with Inferno Dragon, Ram Rider, Heal Spirit, that one. But I got a pretty similar version, I'd say. So, you know, I was okay with it. In this matchup against this Fireball Bait Ram deck, well, if they have Inferno Dragon, I'm actually going to focus on the Inferno Dragon variant more because that is more common, although this one is E-Wiz, which I'm sorry about, guys, but not a whole lot I could do there. The Inferno Dragon is obviously very difficult. The big thing I recommend in that matchup is don't Lava Hound a lot, guys. If you Lava Hound early in the game, they'll literally Inferno Drag. You aren't able to kill that Inferno Dragon without spending, like, absorbently scary amounts of Elixir. It's just not worth it. You shouldn't do it. You'll literally get you'll get hit hard by doing that play a lot of the time. It's a lot better to just play very defensive. Play your Tombstones, cycle your Mega Minions, cycle Zaps. Play very defensive. Get into double Elixir, and then once you're in double Elixir, then you can start going for the Hounds, and then you can go Mega Minion, Fireball, and the Inferno Dragons, and just things like that. And that is all you just have to be able to kill the Inferno Dragon, because if you don't kill the Inferno Dragons, guys, your Hound, or like your Lavaloon pushes, aren't going to go anywhere. And you also have to remember that the Ram Rider is a great defensive option against Lavaloon. So you have to start with Lava Hounding. I very rarely balloon with my Lava Hound. Normally it ends up that I go Mega Minion, Fireball, and an Inferno Dragon, and then I'll just kind of see where that goes. And then if he like Magic Archers, then I'll finally go for a Loon. But you have to have Barbs ready also, because they're probably going to Ram Rider, and you want to distract her as easily as possible. So Barbs will do the job. If they ever go for an offensive Ram Rider, like, you know, in the replay right now, I believe they are. Hopefully this, you know, the lines up in timing. Then you can go for a balloon. You don't have to be as worried. So you'll literally see me right here in just a second. Or maybe not. I don't honestly remember well enough. But you can go for some balloons if you can get them in a bad cycle. There we go. I finally placed the balloon. I was like, I know I'd do it eventually. But really, it's a tough matchup, guys. The biggest thing is you just got to try to defend through single Elixir. And then in double Elixir, get one push that you break through with. And then just be able to defend with your Barbs and stuff for the rest of the match. Because it is actually very hard for the Ram Rider player to break through as well. I mean, you Barbs, you have Tombstone. Like the Bridgespam stuff doesn't even do that much work. So really, just overall, you got to go for one push. Try to catch them, like, screw up their defense. And that, you know, hopefully you just one push take it. If not, you're in a tough spot. If you get into like double Elixir, it's very difficult. They can apply a lot of pressure. It's really hard to get a push going. So just keep that in mind for the matchup. But that's really, really, you know, all I got here to say. Like I said, guys, it is a tough one. So don't feel bad if you lose that one. But big thing, just keep in mind, got to kill the Inferno Dragon no matter what, really. Do what you can. Fireball Mega Minion is a very, very good way to kill it. That's my my highest recommendation. But other than that, we'll move on to the next matchup here. Okay, guys, for the next matchup, I have obviously another Fireball Bait deck. This one is a little bit weirder. Does not have any very heavy unit. Also does not have a huge offensive pressure. Really, the only offensive, you know, thing that it's got going is the Piggies, or, you know, Royal Hogs, whatever you want to call them. But the Royal Recruits is actually in this deck. And Royal Recruits, while, you know, usually scoffed at or laughed at by a lot of people, you know, for being a very bad card, are actually pretty good. They're very good at stopping pushes. Against Lava, they're not as, you know, relevant, but they do force you to, you know, spend a lot of Elixir on defense that you usually wouldn't want to with Lava, but you kind of have to against them. So you know, because they'll take half your tower if you ignore them. But he also has the Zappies, which is, you know, newly buffed also. He does split them in a bad position, and then he has the Skeleton Dragons. So he kind of screwed up early with those Zappies. I don't know why he split them, but he did, so he kind of pays for that. But against a lot of these Royal Recruit decks, they're going to try to build up one big push. These matchups are very easy because the Royal Recruits don't get much value. So the biggest thing you want to do, though, is just always same lane the Royal Recruits and just try to, you know, put like a Mega Minion behind to defend, and then a Lava Mega Minion counter push is actually very strong. Another thing you can do is drag everything together to get good Skelly drag value, because they only have one Fireball. So either you either have Barbs or you should have your Skeleton Dragons at all times, and both of those units get so much value, and they have to Fireball one or the other. Really, in this matchup, you want to play a lot of defense, actually. You know, focus on defending, just kind of chilling, and kind of one push wonder them. That's a common theme against these Fireball bait decks in the Bridgespam, is you want to take one tower with one push, and then you want to defend the rest of the game, because you can actually defend very easily. Tombstone gets so much value against all these decks, along with the Barbarians, Skeleton Dragons, Fireball. Like you get a lot of value. A lot of your units get just so much value. So really just focus on your defense against these decks. That's the more important thing. But other than that, any other points to hit? I really think I hit it all. Like I said, your defense is the key in this matchup, or these matchups. But this one specifically, like I said, just Lava same lane always. Put an air counter behind. You should be good. Really, it's not too hard to defend. I mean, like you can see here, my Barbarians were going to defend, but that's really it for this matchup. Okay, guys, next matchup, I have another very classic meta deck, the Piggy's Barbhut deck. It has Musketeer, Skeleton Dragon, Fireball. I'm sure you guys have seen it. If you play any like high ladder, even semi-high ladder, or even like challenges, you have to have seen this deck. It is very popular. The big thing here is the Musketeer is very difficult to deal with for a lot of Lavaloon players. She just gets a lot of value. You know, tough to kill. You have to Fireball Zap. That's never fun. My opponent here, I mean, you can see I had to Fireball Zap it. He gets to go really aggressive with his piggies early. But against these matchups, you always want to same lane the Barbhut. Unless you have, like, you know, a ton of damage on one tower. I really recommend always same laning the Barbhut. It just gets so much value. With your Lava Hound, your Lava Hound gets a lot of value. Your Tombstones actually won't do much in this matchup. I don't play Tombstone a lot. Maybe one to three times a game, because once you realize it's Barbhut, guys, you don't want a Tombstone, and you'll see exactly why in this replay that I have here, as these Barbs approach my Tombstone and quite frankly destroy it. So literally, Tombstone got traded for you know, -3 Elixir right away. So I probably should have just Lava Hounded and then gone for like a Mega Minion, and that would have been a lot better, but I didn't, so, you know, not good there. But it's very hard for them to defend, which is a good thing. I mean, look at this push. Like, I literally just did Lavaloon, no spells, and I basically took his tower. I got 2 Loon drops and death damage along with some Hound chips. So just like that, guys, I mean, you could see how it can be like such an easy matchup. And then he gave me a great Fireball. I do miss some of the piggies, which is, you know, me being kind of bad, but Zap does clean everything up. I mean, look at that, guys. The Fireball, like I said, 2 matchups before against, I think it was a Fireball, the Recruits deck. I'm not really sure. I'm doing these all kind of separate times. Your Fireball, if you can get great value with it, use it. Because, you know, a lot of people like try to save their Fireball in these matchups, which, you know, is a good habit. But the thing is, they'll have a chance to have great Fireball value, and they just won't take it. And I don't know why. I'm like, the whole point of the Fireball is to get good value, you know. There's no reason having the Fireball in the deck if you're not going to use it. So, you know, don't be too scared to use your Fireballs, guys. Like, I feel like some people would try to like Barbarians when Fireball was obviously the best play. But really, this is another one of those matchups. I said it 3 times now, but I'll just keep going for it. This is a 1-push wonder. I literally, that first push took his tower, and then I've just kind of spammed my air units. Lava Hounding, really on defense. I know that sounds weird, but Lava Hound can be played on defense. The entire point of it is just to tank for your other air units, you know, so that they can actually see you kill his units. So the Lava is more of just a, defensive tank after a certain point. But you really just one Lavaloon push, that should be it. Okay, guys, the last of the Fireball Bait / Bridge Spam collection. And a lot of these decks, the reason why I've grouped these two together is because a lot of them go hand in hand. Like, he's got Piggies, or like this next matchup, which is obviously 3M Piggies, Pump, as you probably saw, if you looked in the description for the, God, what's it called? Timestamp, sorry. But a lot of these matchups are, they're very similar. So he's got the Piggies, he's got the Ghost for Bridge Spam, but at the same time, he's got the 3 Musketeers, the Hunter, these other Fireball Bait units, the Pump, obviously. So, they kind of go hand in hand, which surprises a lot of people. But, I mean, literally, you could just see right there, right when I hounded, he Bridge Spammed with a Royal Ghost. And then he also had a Pump for Fireball Bait, Skeleton Dragons for Fireball Bait. So, you could definitely see how they go hand in hand. Like, the Musketeer, along with the Piggies, that's another very common one. The only one that I will say, like, isn't Fireball Bait is, like, Pekka Bridge Spam. There's not really a ton of Fireball Bait in there. Maybe, like, the Magic Archer and the E-Wiz. But, that's kind of a stretch. Whatever. But, like I said, guys, in the past matchups, really you want to go one push and then kind of defend. So, the only reason, like, I ever go, like, Loon, like I did here, is because I realized that he doesn't have Hunter in this matchup. I don't know why he doesn't have Hunter, but the no Hunter is going to put me in a really good spot where I can get some good chip and, if needed, clutch up on some defenses, so... Or not defense, it's like if I do choke a tower, then I can clutch up and, still win the game. So, here, though, we're looking good. Like, guys, just look, I'm just defending, really. I went for that one offensive Loon, and that led to a good sequence later with those Barbs. So, from this point on, I really won't go too aggressive. At a certain point, you can actually play some offense if, the game's already secured. But really, the Lava Hound should be used as more of a tank to, keep your units alive than an actual offensive, attacker. So, here, though, guys, once again, Barbs, Tombstone, Zap. I'm just cycling all my defensive units, playing very chill. Look, a Mega Minion. I haven't hounded, I haven't ballooned, I haven't really done anything, risky at all recently. And, I'm just playing some good defense. Tombstone on defense. Barbarians, once again, Zap. Literally, guys, I'm just cycling the best defensive units this deck has to offer. I'm just playing all of those, and just like that, I'm gonna win this game just purely on defense. Skeleton Dragons, clean up. I Zap. It doesn't really matter, guys. The game's over. He's not taking this tower. Just Fireball the right lane. And like I said, you guys didn't see me play a single Hound, a single Balloon, really. I had one, but it was, like, not even that aggressive. I kept spamming defense, Tombstones, Fireball, Zaps. Like, so you just want to spam defense in that matchup. Okay, guys, as I'm sure you just saw, this is the Giant Beatdown section. The replay that, I got rolling here is a Giant Double Prince, which, is perfectly representative of Giant Beatdown. Other decks that are included in this are Giant Graveyard and Giant Sparky, I believe. That is it. There really isn't any other meta Giant decks other than, Double Prince, Sparky, and Graveyard, so those are the three. Against all three of them, Barbs are going to be very key for obvious reasons, along with Tombstone. Obviously, the Tombstone to drag the Giants. Barbs versus Graveyard, the Barbs full counter, or don't full counter, but are your best counter for the Graveyard, versus the Double Princes. Obviously, the Barbs are your best counter, and the Sparky Zap Barbs is super strong as well. So, all three matchups, Barbs are very important. Another key aspect in every matchup is your Mega Minion. Normally, people don't really think of Mega Minion as much more than a, just a, a mediocre defensive unit that is just kind of, it's whatever, right? But in these matchups, your Skelly Dregs won't get a lot of value because against Double Prince, they'll get fireballed. Graveyard and Sparky, they'll get arrow zapped. They get killed really easily. But your Mega Minion is so hard to kill because a big thing about these Giant Beatdown decks is they lack air counters. Giant Graveyard has only Bats and Muskie. Giant Sparky has, I think, only Bats and Muskie as well. And Giant Double Prince has Ewiz and Mega Minion, so all of them, you know, not really any good counters to kill your Mega Minion. If they have to Fireball Zap your Mega Minion, that just leaves you Barb and Skelly Drag room. So, you know, if you could bait it out, like bait out the Fireball with your Mega Minion, that's huge value. So, but yeah, Mega Minion and the Barbarians, and Tombstone are going to be really your 3 keys. Also, Lavaloon, you could really go for a lot of pushes because they, like I said, don't have a lot of air counters. The big thing is just balancing your offense and defense, which I'll kind of go into more, you know, depending on what specific matchup it is. But that's a very key thing is, you know, should I ignore that giant, defend it with a Tombstone, go opposite lane with lava, same lane with the lava? Like, there's a lot of logistical things in these matchups that, you know, it's kind of hard to go through in this overview, which, you know, that's the entire point of having all the different matchups is that I can go over them one by one and explain, you know, what the best decision is. So, but yeah, just keep that in mind. We're getting to the end of the replay here, which kind of, you know, cut me off on the time. But Mega Minion, Tombstone, Barbs, guys. Those are your big things. Your Skeleton Dragons and Barbs, they're not the Barbs. The Skeleton Dragons and the your spells aren't as valuable, so keep that in mind. But now let's hop into the first one here. Okay, guys, so the first of the Giant Beatdown matchups that I have for you is, of course, the Giant Double Prince. This deck is classic. Y'all have seen it. Y'all know what it is. It's been around a while. Had a couple bad metas where it falters, but it's back at the moment, so, you know, I gotta cover it. Against this matchup, it's actually a pretty tough matchup. This is definitely the hardest of the Giant decks, purely because the Fireball for your Barbs just kind of doesn't let you get much value. And in the replay, guys, I don't know if you just saw, I almost Barbs that Giant, but he would have just Fireballed and I would have taken a ton of damage. So instead, I smartly went for my Mega Minion. Like I said, Mega Minion is your key in this matchup. And, you know, he's forced to zap and only gets 1 giant hit, while if he just Fireballed, I would have been in a bad spot. Now, once again, he doesn't have many air counters. He has to tank these lava pups with his Dark Prince. So, you know, not good looking for him. But that just kind of shows how the lack of air counters forces them to do stupid plays. Now, Skeleton Dragons in the back is another thing that I love to do, because if they Fireball it, then, you know, I get to just Barbarians like this situation. If they don't Fireball it, they just get value. So, I really like that play. It's a great Fireball bait, you know, thing. And unless you have a Hound, you never want to bait out their Fireball. Let me say this. If you have a Hound on the board, I almost never play my Barbarians or my Skeleton Dragons. Because if they go for like a Giant and you play those units, they're just going to get Fireballed, and then you literally have 0 Elixir left to defend with. So, really just don't like doing that, guys. Instead, I'd go for like a Mega Minion, a Tombstone, something safer. But this matchup, you always want to same lane the Giant. Because biggest thing is your Mega Minion, you just want to literally lava go same lane, and then your Mega Minion gets big value, and they can't kill the Mega Minion with their Mega Minion or an E-Wiz when you do that. So that's a very, very good play. I really enjoy that one. It really throws people off. This is also a very slow matchup. I almost never Hound in single Elixir because you just get punished too hard by like a Giant Rush and then a Fireball on your Barbs or whatever, like I said. And it's just really hard to defend because of all this, like the spells they have are like perfect to counter your defensive units. So, you know, just kind of recommend waiting, playing passive. I mean, you can see in this replay, I, you know, haven't really gone for much aggression. I'm just defending everything, you know, really textbook. He finally goes for that aggressive Fireball, which I finally can go for a Hound now because I am up in Elixir and I have a good hand. Mega Man Tombstone is very strong. His Fireballs out of cycle, you know, are just looking really good. So I should be able to defend, you know, not actually too hard here. So, you know, just kind of space your troops as well. That's a big thing. Like, if you don't space them, then you'll just give away too much value, and that could obviously lose you the game. Now, I will say, guys, this game is close, but this is a tough matchup, so, you know, it's kind of expected. But with the Fireball out of hand, this Dark Prince really won't do much, so we do win. But, I mean, you guys could see there, very slow-paced game. Build up, or, like, defend, wait for them to overextend. Like, in that case, you overextend a Fireball, and then that's your door to really play aggressive. Okay, guys, so for the next matchup, I have a giant Sparky Graveyard deck, which is, I know, a little weird, but it was the closest I can get to a giant Sparky deck, guys. Remember, I just played a bunch of games, try to get as many different matchups as possible. Some of them, I quite frankly couldn't get, and giant Sparky Plane was one of them. So this is the closest alternative I have to it. You know, it's not too far off, and you guys gotta remember, all these matches are top 200 ladder, or I'll say top 500 ladder, or challenges, so, you know, keep that in mind. But versus Sparky decks in general, since I don't have a Goblin Giant one either, unfortunately, you really just want to play, it's back to the whole Mega Minion thing. This guy is Minion Horde, which, you know, is unfortunate for your Mega Minion, but your Mega Minion does get really good value in most of these matchups, but just like that, guys, him getting that Sparky shot, you could see why Skeleton Dragons are so scary to play, like, because of the arrow zap. Although it did leave him very down in Elixir, so I am able to go in hard with a zap, you know, finish off the tower. So you gotta keep that in mind, though. You know, if you're gonna try to defend with your Skeleton Dragons, they can kill them not too hard. I mean, it is a negative Elixir trade for them, which is very good, but still, just keep it in mind, guys. It's a big thing. But in general, this matchup is it's not too tough. It's a Sparky deck. Sparky is very simple. You always just same lane it. Spam your Mega Minion behind your Hound, start to shred, Tombstone, just stall basically, and you should be good. You have a safety net with the Barbarians. If you need to go Barbarians and then like zap, you can do that. So he's Sparky, there you go. I Hounded right away. I think I Mega Minion behind here. I mean, that would be the smart play, so hopefully I do. Yep, there you go. Look at that, guys. Oh, that actually went in front, so I did misplay there, but literally, just like I said, we're just stalling time. Now, the second that he played that Graveyard, I would have Barb surrounded the Sparky if he didn't Graveyard, but once he Graveyarded, I was not saving that tower. He overextended so much Elixir. So at that point, I'm just kind of gonna go like really aggressive with my Balloon and, you know, light defend with the Sky Drag. So if he didn't go for that Graveyard, though, I definitely would have Barb surrounded the Giant, or not the Giant, the Sparky, and that way I would have been able to defend that one tower very easily. So, you know, an alternative option. Now, I do have a little bit of a bad spot here with that Giant Skarmy in the pocket, but Barbarians do full counter the Giant pretty fast, and while I do take a lot of damage on my King Tower because of the play, it doesn't really matter. I can now go for my Balloon to win the game with a zap on the minions, and just like that, really not a whole lot he's gonna do. So like I said, guys, that one defense was perfect. Just Mega Minion's your friend, get a lot of Mega Minion value, Tombstone, Barbs, you got it's an easy matchup. Just same lane as Sparky and you really should be good. Okay, guys, so this next one is just the classic Giant Graveyard deck with Musketeer bats. I'm sure you guys have seen it. This is a little bit more meta than that last one. It has Mini Pekka. Mini Pekka is really the issue because your Barbs, you have Barbs for the Graveyard, and then you have Tombstone for the Giant, but you don't really have a counter for the Mini Pekka, so it's a little bit awkward. But once again, in this matchup, same thing really applies, how the Mega Minion is very hard to kill. In some matchups, the Mega Minion won't do much, but in these, you know, it really does get a lot of value, so... but I mean, just on this first push, you can see, I normally don't talk about the replays this much, by the way, guys. These giant decks are, I have some pretty good examples of what to do, though, and how easy it is to defend, although, you know, I'm going to take some heat anyway. But the biggest thing here is the counter push, you know, being up in Elixir, or having, like, counter pushing units. So even, like, if I lose a tower like I just did, I still have a Mega Minion on the board that is going to chip him down, and I'm basically even on damage, so, you know, I'm still up, although I might not look it. This matchup does get better in double Elixir, because he doesn't have a heavy spell while I do, so, you know, if he doesn't have a heavy spell and he can't kill my units, then there's really no advantage to for him in double. But once again, Barbs will be your big key here, whether it be versus the Graveyard or the... oh, by the way, he had a really good Giant Skarmy in the pocket there. That's a very common play for the Giant players, so you have to be very ready with your Barbarians, guys. I mean, I was pretty fast, dragged the whole Skarmy, kept that tower alive pretty healthily, so, you know, you just got to be fast on your toes. Giant Graveyard is a very common play, so, yeah, just keep that in mind. But other than that, this matchup isn't too hard once you get to double Elixir. I mean, right now, as you could probably tell, it's looking kind of scary. I'm down a good amount of damage, just overall not in a good spot. He can giant scar me in the pocket probably. You know, it's scary, right? And as you can see, I literally have my zap hovered for if he went for a giant, then I can just zap right away. So you know, you gotta be ready for those plays. But instead, and also you can't really zap. You can't afford to zap on the bats there at first, because if he goes giant scar me, then you're kind of in a bad spot. So you know, gotta chill there. But I'd have to go aggressive, so I'm looking really like bad, right? But here's the thing, guys. We're now getting to the point in the match where I'm up in Elixir. So we do get that lucky Loon drop. I'm not gonna lie, that Loon drop was kind of scuffed. But at this point, if he rushes me, I can Tombstone drag his giant away, or just barbarians, and you'll actually see that here in a second. With this, okay, so he went mini Pekka, but still, you're gonna see me defend. I have the spells, while he just does not have the offensive capability to really win this game. And guys, I almost did choke the matchup by not defending enough, but in the end, you know, we clutched it up, 66 health, pretty close game. But big thing is just making sure you watch out for those aggressive giant Skyrim type plays in the pocket. Focus on your defense. Don't choke. Don't do stupid stuff like I did. And you really should be fine to win the matchup on defense alone and your counter pushing units. Okay, guys, so this next giant beatdown deck is a little bit more off meta. You guys might not have ever seen it, but it actually is a surprisingly common deck. It is a giant wizard Sparky pump deck. It's very weird. There's a player called Rammy. His name is Rammy Heart Rage on Twitter. He uses this deck and he created it, and it's actually very popular. But it's kind of scary for a lava user, because the wizard really can get a lot of value, and he actually has a minion horde as well. So it can be hard to break through, but really he doesn't have a heavy spell, so your hound should be able to put work in. And there you go. You can see the wizard there. But versus like Sparkies that are, you know, just isolated, you can Barb surround like I did there. It's pretty standard play, pretty safe, you know, nothing too complicated. The matchup is quite scary. Like I said, you can lose and get 3 crown if you screw up, but Fireball will be your friend here, obviously, because he has the pump, minion horde, and the wizard. Try to save your Fireball, guys, for the pump. You really don't want to be going down Elixir. I play Lava, wow. I play pump a lot, and guys, the biggest, like, best thing that can happen is if I, like, wizard in the back and somebody Fireballs it right away. Oh, it's so good, because I can just pump right up. But in this matchup, you do have to be very careful. I will say that. You know, sometimes you do have the Fireball the wizard, but you'll see that later. Anyway, you always want to same lane this deck. You need to have something to tank for your air units, so that way the wizard doesn't just shred. Because if you allow, like, if you go opposite lane, he'll just wizard on offense. But if you have something tanking for the Lava Hound, he doesn't have a heavy spell, so he really isn't able to break through on you know, to kill your air units too easily. Although, you know, in this raid play, he really did try to. But look at what we do here, guys. We have this massive counter push. We force out the wizard, and boom, we have the balloon to counter push opposite lane, knowing that he has no counters. So really, really, really strong awareness on my part there to, you know, realize that he had nothing in hand to counter. Unfortunately, we do obviously lose that tower, but, you know, not really a lot that I could have done to defend there. Skeleton Dragons will just clean up nicely. Skeleton Dragons are also really good in this matchup because he doesn't have Fireball. Literally, you'll hear me say this so much, guys. Skeleton Dragons will always be really good when they don't have Fireball. So, you know, you'll hear that a lot. But the kind of sus hound there, I'm not going to lie, that was kind of scary just in case he had the wizard or anything. But once again, the Barbarians just do such a good job on defense, especially when they don't have a heavy spell. And really, guys, the combination of your Barbarians and the Skeleton Dragons when your opponent doesn't have a heavy spell, it's so good. It's so hard to break through those 2 units, along with the Tombstone. I mean, just the defensive of this deck, guys, so good. So that's the last giant deck, though. Okay, guys, for the next section, we have the Golem beatdown decks. The Golem decks are very, it's considered tough for a lot of, like, Lavaloon players, which kind of confuses me, because Golem's actually a really easy matchup. if you just know what to do. So in this one, I actually didn't have 2 classic golems. I do have 1 real one. So I just played against a clanmate, had him play some golem, classic. But and against that golem decks, the big thing is the Night Witch is a problem. The Night Witch is obviously the biggest issue because of her bats. The bats are so difficult for a lot of Lavaloon players to, get by. But guys, the thing is, with Skelly Dragons, you should be alright. The Skelly Dragon splashing the bats is just so strong. And also, guys, when they golem, if they ever golem early, you can just rush. So it's so good. And it helps you really break through, and when you seemingly shouldn't be able to. And by the way, with the classic lava, I almost always recommend laving opposite lane. It's just so much better than going same lane because the bats, like I said, are just so difficult. So the thing number 1, always hound opposite lane. Thing number 2, I'd say, is make sure you get good Skelly Drag value. Skelly Drags are really your key. The splash that they give is so good. Keep them alive. Keep them safe. Play them far back. Don't play them up high when trying to shred stuff. It just almost never goes well when you do that. But another good thing is play aggressive. I almost always try to 3-crown golem players. You guys probably know that. And it really is the thing to do. Because just like in this replay that you're watching, the golem player rushes me, although I did misplay. And I just don't want to go near that Night Witch, because those bats right now, there's no way that I would be killing them with, I have nothing in my hand to be able to kill them. I have to zap, which is just a waste of 2 Elixir. So instead, go for the lava aggressively, go for the balloons. He does get a nice NATO fireball, which is kind of weird that that he even has fireball, but we still do get at least 1 drop, which is, good. But once again, guys, wait to see where he golems. He golems right lane. Look, I Tombstone. And then I cycle a Mega Minion. I had Hound selected. You don't want to Hound same lane. It causes way too much issues. I do have a lot of damage, so I do have to same lane Hound. But guys, this Hound, it's not really meant for offense. It's mainly to stack up defenses, as you can see. I mean, look at all these units that I'm placing. And just by placing all these units, guys, I mean, my Hound, look, my Hound's already dead. That Hound that I played right there, it was not meant to get any damage. It really was just meant to, tank for my units and, to allow me to, go for this play, which is a lot better, a lot more aggressive. I'm, that far into the match where all I need is a little bit more damage and I should be able to win. And that little bit of damage I will actually get here. So, you can play some defensive hounds. I mean, I know defensive hound sounds weird, but that is the term, where you just, you play the hound to tank for units that, you don't plan on going on offense, plan on playing defense. So, yep, big things, just opposite lane your golems, guys. Get good value with your defensive units, pretty standard stuff, but I'll go more into specifics in the next match. Okay, guys, first one we have, Golem Beatdown deck-wise, is going to be, of course, the classic Golem, Lightning, Night Witch, Lumberjack, Baby Dragon, Barb Barrel, NATO, Mega Minion. This deck is standard. It's been around a long time. It's super strong. It's loved by a lot of people. And really, the way you beat it is you play slowly and wait for them to screw up. That's a pretty standard thing against a lot of hard counters, is to just wait. Like, look at this. He goes for a golem that early in the game. I'm just going to rush him with a balloon. And guys, look at this early. I mean, what's he going to do to defend this? He just wasted his Mega Minion. When he goes to activate King here, my Skelly Drake still gets a lot of value. So, just such a good start. And you just by going aggressive. And then, guys, look at the Barbs here. Barbs get also so much value in this matchup. As you can see, I go Barb Zap on the Golem there. I have to Mega Minion 1 bat. That was getting a ton of damage on my tower. But that allows the towers to clean up nicely. And although it looks like, once again, I'm not going to be able to defend, my tower's going to be gone, whatever. My Skelly Dregs, guys, I will be down in Elixir, but it's worth it to save my tower. And, I mean, just look at how much damage lead him now up. He, once again, can't golem till really double Elixir without getting rushed, force out a NATO. And, guys, the big thing is, when they golem and they try to, and you rush them, you're forcing them to spend Elixir on defense, which then leaves their golem very vulnerable on offense because they can't support it as much as they'd want to. So, You know, just keep that in mind. That is why you do rush, like with a balloon and stuff. In this case, he actually lets my tower go, or lets his tower go, which is worrying because you know it's gonna be very hard to defend. I mean, guys, look at this push that he has brewing here. So you know you got to really make sure you defend well. I offset my barbs. He misses the barb rail, the zap to kill the bats, and guys, look at that beautiful defense just by offsetting my barbs, not allowing the barb rail to I can speak, to catch them. I basically am in a good spot. Once again, guys, you see a Lava Hound on the left lane going for 3 because I don't want to same lane his golems. So he either has to golem the same lane, which is I have a lot of health on that tower, or he has to, you know, play to the right like he is, and look at that push going towards this king tower. So now I can focus on defense while he has to focus on offense. So, I mean, look at, unfortunately that lumberjack does take my tower, but he then has to lightning, and guys, look at his king tower taking a ton of damage. We're going to go for another balloon, zap the baby dragon. Unfortunately, it doesn't die. The mega minion will help clean up as well. So, you know, not looking ideal, but here's the thing. He can't really golem because I can just hard go in the paint, rush him, which is what I'm going to do here. He goes for a Night Witch. He's going to golem in front of this. It's going to actually be a pretty sus defense here. You know, I'm not looking great. I don't have my zap to kill these bats that are going to pop out in just a second. I don't really have my balloon to play aggressive. But in the end, we will cycle what we need to cycle. And that's going to be enough to, you know, defend this one push, this one onslaught. And while the golem does get death damage, and that's really it. So, you know, we're all right. But here's the thing, guys. Look at this. It looks scary, right? You know, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to send. Your barbarians get so much value. I baited him into goleming, and really, just like that, golem has nothing left. There's no health left. We tanked the baby dragon with a lava hound. That lumberjack gets no value. And guys, really, just like that, with the help of those barbs on that defense, there is nothing he's going to be able to do. As I go for the fireball on the mega minion, barely missed the Night Witch, and the zap to kill the bats. NATO really just not going to be able to do enough. Baby dragon, same thing. Get the drop, 8 health, and just like that, guys, we finished the game. I mean, you could see the power of the skeleton dragons and the barbarians on that defense along with Tombstone. Just so many great defensive counters that let you win that game. Okay, guys, for this next one, it's a little bit of a weirder deck. This is a Golem 3 Musketeers Pump deck. This deck is heavy, guys. It is very, very heavy. He starts the game with 3 Musketeers because of how heavy his deck is. He's trying to bait out my heavy spell. Luckily, I didn't have Fireball in hand. Otherwise, I would have Fireball zapped his 3 behind tower, and I actually would have paid for it. Because, quite frankly, I can't afford to be doing that. You know, I just don't have the Elixir, really. You know, the counters. But we do keep our Mega Man alive, although I do miss a single Musketeer. I mean, guys, look at how much health my my Hound and my Mega Man have here. It's not a lot. He has arrows as his 1 air unit, which is not fun. I do go for the balloon, thinking, oh, he's out of air counters. Nope, he has a minion horde. So, minion horde, 3 Musketeers, skeleton dragons, arrows. Lots and lots of air counters, guys. This deck is tough to beat. Any of these heavy, off-meta, weird ones where they have so many air counters. I mean, guys, look at this. Look at my current hand right now. What am I supposed to do at that pump? He's up 4 Elixir. I'm about to be up 6 Elixir because of the pump. It looks terrible. Looks hopeless. Looks like nothing I can do at all. I Lava Hound. He has nothing for my Lava Hound. That is the big thing about this matchup. He's going to try to go for 3 Musketeers and get a Golem in front. I'm not going to let him. I have to play aggressive. He can't kill my Skeleton Dragons. I know it, and I'm going to capitalize on it. He goes for this weird Skarmy. I just surround with Barbs. And guys, just like that, we have cleaned up. We are fine. Although the only issue is that he still has this pump on the board, but I still have my Fireball in hand, which is the key thing. So that way, if or when he pumps again, I would have Fireball in hand. Now, here's really the play that won me the game. We go Balloon, Prediction Fireball, catch a minion horde. Guys, that play was insane. Did you see that? Oh, and I knew that was the only counter he had because he just used Sky Drags and 3 Musketeers. He didn't have Elixir. Now, it probably looks like I'm not going to be able to defend, you know. I just used my Fireball. That was like, you know, a big no-no. But guys, Zap on the 2M, The tower gets locked onto them, cleans up. We have Barb for the Golem. Fireball for this is back for the Skydregs. And guys, just like that, we're looking good. We have the Mega Minion for Barb, so we can drag them to the middle. And then the Tombstone with the Tombstone Skydregs. I mean, guys, just like that, just by that one prediction play, because this is a really tough matchup, I was able to fully win this game, get the dub, secure the bag. So super stoked about that dub against that really off-meta hard counter with all those air units and fireball cards, because it really is hard to break through while he can defend very easily and I can't defend nearly as easily. So very happy there. Just gotta go aggressive, boys. Okay, last matchup or Golem matchup that I have here is a Golem Mini Pekka Bomber Night Witch deck. It's very similar to the first one, but I figured I'd show it. It's a oh, okay, that's weird. Sorry, my screen actually accidentally got swiped down there, but it is a very similar matchup. The only difference is your Barbs are gonna get a lot less value, guys, because he is the Bomber, he is the Mini Pekka, and they shred through your Barbarians. So you have to play a little bit more aggressive. Now, I do go for my Mega Man on offense. Mega Man does not get much value on defense, but you know what does get a lot of value on defense? Is Skeleton Dragons, guys. And then I just have the Tombstone for the Mini Pekka. Skeleton Dragons really are the key in this matchup. Against really all Golem decks, the splash that they provide on the bats and stuff, it's absolutely insane, guys. So we're just kind of vibing, chill. The baby dragon's gonna get targeted by my tower, so it's gonna die. I am down a good half a tower or so, which is tough. King Tower is also not looking too healthy. This is a bad situation, right? Not looking good at all. But the big thing is the Mini Pekka and the Bomber, when he doesn't have a Golem with them, are very bad, guys. They just don't get that much value. So I'm going to go for a very smart play on offense here. I'm going to Mega Minion behind my hand instead of ballooning. Now, by doing this, I take his tower because he's not going to defend, while forcing him to respond on both offense and defense. Look, so he has a Bomber on offense, which, that's fine. But here's the big thing, guys. Look at him on defense. I have a full health Lavaloon on his tower. Now, Skeledrags are down. Skeledrags have finished shredding the Golemites because of how much DPS they do. Look at his King Tower now. I can just Fireball to clean up. Look at his King Tower. He's at 1,000. I'm at 2,000. He has a less aggressive deck. His best way of winning is to Golem, obviously. But if he does that, I rush him. So he's now in a terrible position where, really doesn't look like there's a whole lot he's going to be able to do. So he does go for the Night Witch. Smart play. I can't kill that Night Witch very easily. But he goes for a Golem, which is a bad play. Because I can go Barbs, Skeledrags, go really aggressive, and then just, with the Mega Minion alone defending, I can lava in front. Now, it's obvious that he's going to go for a Mini Pekka. I just used my big bulky counter. He has to pressure me. He goes for a really good NATO. I get a Fireball down just in time to save my tower. Now I have this massive push. 2 Mega Minions, a bunch of pups, and now, well, the pups are dead. But guys, even with the lightning, the death damage from my balloon will be enough to really put him in a crippled position. He's just gonna go full send, try everything he can, but really he is out of time. There's not much he can do at this point. Oops, sorry, battery low. Bomber almost gets a hit. It really wouldn't matter. Lava Hound in the pocket, or not even in the pocket, but like next to the pocket, just to finish this game off. Not really much he could do with the Fireball and the Lava Hound finishing off the tower. So there you go. Similar to the first one, you see how it's done with your air unit. Alright guys, next up we have the Elixir Golem, a traditionally thought to be a very, hard matchup for Lava Hound. In reality, guys, it's really not that bad. Lava can easily deal with it. It's not bad. Your Barbs get a ton of value, your Fireball gets a ton of value, your Skeleton Dragons get a ton of value, your Mega Minion gets a ton of value. The whole deck, you get a ton of value. Now, I do have 2 replays, as they're both the same deck. This isn't going to be as much an overview as, it's the same deck both ones. So instead, I'm just going to be kind of talking about it for 6 minutes straight, a little bit longer. I probably don't need all the time. Maybe I'll actually cut one. I don't really know. Maybe I'll just talk through the second game or something. I haven't really decided, guys. It's whatever. We do fireball that E-Drag. Interesting decision. Really, in this matchup, all you gotta do is separate his pushes, fireball, zap the E-Drag, and just basically don't let him get a lot of eagle and value, or not eagle and value, like counter push value, where he can just kind of stack up units and then full send it. Because if they start doing that, guys, you will get in trouble very quickly. And that's the bad habit that most players do, is they try to like same lane eagle him, and oh my god, never same lane eagle him. It's really bad if you do that. You can same lane the Barbhut, but even that is, you know, kind of sus. It's hard to deal with, especially if they get the eagle heal or E-Drag down with the Barbhut. You'll really be in for a bad time. So I do go opposite lane here. You know, try to avoid that Barbhut. Don't want him to get one big push, like I said. So he does go for the Barb barrel. Got the Barbs down. My balloon is not going in. Really, the only big issue with his deck for you is the E-Drag, guys. E-Drag just causes so much issues. He does miss a NATO because he's kind of bad. This first replay, he's a lot worse than the second one. But we do take tower, which is kind of insane. But still, you know, a lot of people would still be like, oh, he can just steamroll. One push warrior, go in hard, and it looks like he's going to do that. I mean, he's got the eagle. He gets the healer opposite lane. What he's trying to do here is he's trying to stack up, you know, enough units to get 2 pushes going in both lanes, which is actually not a terrible thought process, but it's not going to go well, guys. Barbarians really just, oh, the amount of value they get, it's gross how much value they get. I mean, guys, look at them go here. Look at them go. They kill the first eagle. They're now on to the second eagle. The second eagle's dead. And just like that, I have such a big elixir lead. Really not much he can do here. So, really, the barbarians are your key. The skeleton dragons as well. He can't kill them. There's just nothing he can do. Fireball zap the E-Drag literally every time and get 1 hit on it, guys. The E-Drag lives Fireball zap, but if any unit in the game hits it, it's dead. So Fireball zap plus literally anything in this deck to kill the E-Drag. Make sure he doesn't heal it up, and you really should be fine. Okay, guys, this next E-Golem, obviously, you know, it's back-to-back E-Golems, not, you know, the best, but still, very easy matchup. This player is a little bit better. The last one was kind of a rock, I'm not gonna lie, but E-Golem, even if they try to stack up, all you need, like I said, Fireball, Zap, and then anything on the E-Dragon to kill it, and you should be good. Also, Skeleton Dragons are a very good unit to tank for, because they will try to, you know, kill them with like a baby dragon. But guys, if you like hound in front of your Sky Drags like I just did, he's really not able to kill him. Now watch this play. I was ready with this fireball. Knock the E-Drag out, zap, it dies. And just like that, with that wasted NATO, he tried to save his E-Drag. That's why he nated, by the way. That was not a bad NATO on his part. It was just unlucky. But I predicted the baby drag with my Mega Minion as well. And guys, look at how different pacing this game is from the last one. I'm going a lot more aggressive, and still I'm able to absolutely destroy him, really. And this is my point. It is such an easy matchup that I can play aggressive. I can play defensive. It doesn't really matter. And I'll still be able to win pretty easily. As you can see, you know, we're going in. So he Barbhuts over there. I will same lane the Barbhut this game just because that tower is so low on health that I don't want to split my damage. Because that's a risky play. And I really feel confident that I'm going to be able to kill his E-Dragons. If you're able to kill the E-Dragon while on his side of the map, which you should be doing like every time, then you're good. You're doing good. But I do have to Skelly Drags for the Barbs, otherwise they'll get too much damage. So he has the E-Drag down, guys. The Lava Pups are so good. Literally one Lava Pup hit and a Fireball Zap does kill the E-Drag. So, oops, sorry about that. So yeah, you know, just anything. And look, boom, one Lava Pup hit, guys, one. So it looks like I'm going to have a bad time, right? Nope, Fireball, Zap, and that one Lava Pup hit, and that E-Drag is gone. So, just like that, once again, absolutely destroy him. In this matchup, I didn't actually have to Barbs, at all, because he didn't go for Eagleum. This Eagleum player is a lot more defensive. So, you guys can actually really see the difference between the two. And yet how you could still beat both quite easily. So once again, fireballing the E-Dreg. I mean, guys, every single time you saw me fireball that E-Dreg, right? And that's just really what you got to do. So E-Golem, traditionally a scary matchup for lava for a lot of people. Really not that hard, guys. I absolutely destroy it. Beat him up. Not much he could do. Left no mercy, and really just steamrolled through to kill just by killing those E-Dregs every time. Leave him so vulnerable, so strong. Really, not a hard matchup. But let's move on to the next. Okay, guys, so next we have Lavaloon Beatdown. I'm actually going to be skipping the intro game on this one, purely because it is the mirror matchup. It's kind of weird to, talk about it. I'll cover really everything just here. This first one is Lavaloon Pump, which is actually funny, because I play this deck, so I figured I'd include it. I actually played against somebody for the 12 win in a classic challenge with it. Got a bad start, but it was all right. Against Lavaloon Pump is actually a very tough matchup because literally like you see here, I lose my tower first push. It's very hard to defend. The minion horde, skeleton dragons, they both get good value. I've actually fireballed the skeleton dragons here, and instead of pumping though, he goes for this weird goblin gang. This goblin gang is next to no value, and so really not a good play there on his part. But I'm not complaining. I'm looking good, actually. So, we're doing good. He wastes his arrows. Those wasted arrows are actually going to leave the door open. Lavaloon Pump, you need to get really good Tombstone value. If you don't, you're in actually a really bad spot because his Lavaloon pushes will just kind of roll over you because he'll have an Elixir lead. So, like you can see here, he's up in Elixir. So, I kind of need to take his tower. I will say, without him not having Fireball, isn't that hard of a matchup to deal with. But it's still not ideal. And the biggest reason why is because the minion horde just doesn't get any value. Also, bad ignore on his behalf of my Lavaloon push. I don't know why he went for that hound. It was just not good. But really, if you're able to just a couple predictions like a minion horde, like a skeleton dragon, or like skelly drags, then you really should be quite fine to win this matchup. It's not that difficult. As you guys can see, he's just not able to defend, so we do steamroll. It really isn't that hard. Just try to get as much fireball value as possible, get good mega minion value, and they play good tombstones, and you should be able to win. Okay, guys, next matchup is, of course, the classic Lavaloon mirror matchup. Everything the same. Once again, against Lavaloon decks, you need to get good Tombstone value. If you get bad Tombstone value, misplays, anything like that, you will lose the game. Mega Minion is also your main air counter. Sky Dragons, obviously you have them, but the Fireball is so tough, guys, because the Fireball, it'll just clear them out. So, big thing, gotta get good Mega Minion value, which I actually just don't do in this matchup. Literally look at the start. I've just already screwed up big time. So right off the bat, we're starting with a tower trade, basically, which is, not ideal. Guys, look at the amount of health on his balloon and stuff going onto my king tower. It's quite scary. So I have to skelly drags, but we tower traded. I made the worst out of a bad situation, a bad start, because he did have hound earlier than me. But, we're looking all right, although I do take a lot more damage on my king tower. But you haven't seen any yet, but wait till you guys see the tombstone placements. He goes for a very bad tombstone because he has to zap as well. You'll see some of mine later on, just standard plays. Look, I decide to Mega Minion here instead of tombstone because I know if I tombstone here, I'm in big trouble. But instead, I wait, and then I get to drag this Loon all the way up top with my tombstone instead of, just losing my tower. So we actually full counter that balloon as well with that zap, which is just so good. Like I said, guys, tombstone really, I know I've said a lot, but it really is your key, along with the Mega Minion here. He does go for a lava in the back. I feel confident lava hounding as well, knowing that his balloon is not quite in cycle. And I have Mega Minion and, Tombstone, once again, back in hand. So, I will go for the balloon, apply some pressure, and then I believe just a fireball. Clean up. Guys, watch this tombstone. Boom. See how that lava hound isn't crossing over yet? He can't balloon because his balloon would go to front of the lava hound. And so because of that, just like that simple tombstone placement, that stalled me a lot of time. I nearly take his tower with my Lavaloon push because he just doesn't go for any good tombstones. And just like that, guys, I'm up a good 1,000 damage, which is, absolutely insane. Go for a balloon, force out the fireball and stuff on defense, to prevent him from losing. But a lava in the pocket will win this game. There's really nothing left he can do. He went for his own lava in the pocket, but no time. We will clean up. We will get the dub. Very solid there. You could see the power of the tombstone to stall time, win games. Overall lava, not that hard of a matchup. You just gotta get good tombstone value, guys. Okay, guys, cycle decks are next. Now, the first, this intro cycle, I can speak. This intro cycle deck that I have for you is, of course, the classic double barrel bait. Kind of a rough start there. He rushed me. But the best way to win this matchup is you guys just gotta get to double Elixir. Double Elixir against bait is so much easier than trying to do stuff in single. So you'll see I very rarely hound in single Elixir. Only reason I ever do is if I'm up Elixir, like this case. And I know that, I could probably defend because Skelly Dragons do get a lot of value. And I realized that this was the double barrel bait instead of the classic. Against classic, you never want to go for early hands with Skelly Dragons because he is Princess, and Princess is such a hard unit to deal with. But he actually does have Princess. I didn't know that. But if he has Princess, guys, that means that he doesn't have some other counter because he has the Dark Goblin. That's the big thing, is that he has the Dark Goblin. Dark Goblin usually very difficult to deal with. But in general, guys, bait decks, cycle decks, I forgot that I was more broad here. They're very easy to deal with. Most of them that I'll go over, really the only hard one is RG. Other than that, Wall Breakers is really simple. And I believe I also include a balloon. That one is also pretty hard, the Pompeyo deck. But other than those two, cycle deck's really not that difficult. Okay, guys, so I figured I'd start with the RG since I was just talking about it and how that is the toughest of these cycle decks. Sorry I was referring to them as bait decks. Kind of tired, guys. It's 3 in the morning. I'm trying to get this video out for you guys. It's been a lot of editing. I've probably spent 15 hours or so, like I said, on it. But Fisherman and Heal Spirit, at this point, I already know that it's RG, guys. The big thing in this matchup, like usual, is your Mega Minion. Mega Minion is so strong in lava. And right here on this first defense, you can see why. Normally, if I Skeleton Dragons, he fireballs. If I Barbarians, he fireballs. If I play Tombstone, he logs or Heal Spirits. He always has a counter. And that alone, the fact that he literally just always has a counter, it kind of puts you in a position where you have to find something to kill the RG like that he can't just kill. And that is your Mega Minion. He has no real way of killing your Mega Minion fast and efficiently without spending a ton of Elixir for, a little reward. So, you'll see me literally every time I try to tower trade RG, and then, guys, I'm always spamming my Mega Minions on them on defense, the Royal Giant, that is. So, once again, I'll go for a Hound, and you can actually lava in this matchup, although the Hunter does get good value. You can still Hunter, so, or you can still lava. He does actually go for the Skelly Dragons and stuff with that Royal Giant to catch my Mega Minion. And while that might actually look like a good play on the surface, you'll see why it's not here in just a second. As he continues to defend, guys. I mean, look at the amount of Elixir he's putting out on offense. He's trying to force me to defend instead of going on offense, but here's the thing. Skelly Dragon's got so much value that now there's really no way that he stops this balloon without it taking his tower, or at least getting a drop, which is, basically taking a tower. So, now we have a tower. he did overextend, which you kind of have to wait for. You have to wait for them to overextend. So, you know, they will always, because they're not going to just let you full counter with your Mega Minion every time. They're always going to try to, you know, do something fancy. But here he goes for a kind of interesting play with the Skelly Dregs and everything. But he does Fireball, which allows me to Barbs. Once you're in double Elixir, you can bait out the Fireball with the Skelly Dragons and then go for Barbs. Now, he goes for Hunter, which leaves me wide open to go for a Balloon and then a Fireball on the Hunter just to make sure it dies. Now, while this might not look like a good situation, watch these Barbs on his King Tower. He just had to Fireball my Balloon. And guys, his King Tower is taking a ton of heat, which is going to allow me to go for both pressure in both lanes. Now, a Mega Minion behind a Lava Hound is so difficult for them to deal with. So, I'll do it quite a lot. He actually goes for an entire Hunter on it. And guys, that really was the misplay that will kind of crumble him here. As he tries to cycle back to another Hunter to no avail. All you have to do is wait for one misplayed Hunter. And you'll break through, guys. And just like that, we will snag the dub here with a Fireball in just a second. So, you know, not actually that terrible of a matchup. You know, you definitely have the Tombstone. You have the Mega Minion. Not that hard. Just got to make sure to kill it, Hunter. Okay, guys. Next matchup is a debatable cycle deck. It is the Pompeyo. I don't actually know the average elixir. It's like 3 point something. It's a low 3 point. I think it's like 3.3 maybe. I'm not really sure. But that deck that I'm sure you guys have seen, Pompeyo's played it a lot, top ladder. But this deck is actually very difficult for the same reason other lava decks are, because of the Inferno Dragon. Inferno Dragon puts you in a really awkward spot where it's just so hard to break through because like, you know, it's, you kind of have to Fireball Mega Minion. I know I've said this before. I don't really know if you guys have watched the earlier parts, but I believe I said it was against it was the Ram Rider, the Fireball bait Ram Rider. Is you really have to Fireball and Mega Minion on the Inferno Dragon, and it's such a large elixir commitment. It's so risky with your Lava Hound. It's scary is what it is. But if you catch them in a bad cycle like I did with that one push, you actually can win. Now, if you take a tower in this matchup, guys, you have to defend like a beast and just defend the rest of the game. And by doing that, you really just you're able to defend not too terribly. So you could probably win by defending. Normally the issue is getting damage. But if you get an early lead, you can apply pressure, kind of, you know, start folding in on them, force them to go for Inferno Dragons, and just kind of chill. Especially if their Loon's out of cycle, like I just hounded, which I know I said, like, you know, you probably shouldn't do. But if their Balloon is out of cycle, guys, you can apply a lot of pressure, try to get 2 crowns, and really put you in a good spot just to stall time. So here you'll see me do that as I go for a Fireball and the Zap on defense. Look at the amount of elixir he had to spend on his defense. And guys, we now have a minute left in the game, and he hasn't been able to get another Loon down. So he's obviously going to go for a Loon, but the thing is, if he goes for a Loon in the left, by tombstoning there, I force him to go for a Loon on the left. And even if he does, I now have such a good counter push because of my because I just Lava Hounded, that even if he does take this tower, I still would be able to easily I still will be able to easily win here with just a Loon because he has no elixir. So you know, it's a different way to play it, a little bit more aggressive, but it does work just as well. It just kind of puts you in a nice spot where you can basically apply pressure in both lanes just to ensure that, you know, they can't defend. Now, it did look a little sus there, but he had no elixir to defend the Skydrake, so I really was fine. But Barb's in the pocket. We're just kind of applying pressure, trying to clean up this game. He really does not have elixir, guys, especially for this Balloon. And he's kind of falling apart at this point. With a Fireball, we will, you know, snag the game, get the last dub, and actually, no. Oh, no, he lives here. I lied. He lives, boys. So we actually have to chill, which is kind of annoying. But like I said, really just the Inferno Dragon. If you could deal with it, cycle your air counters. You do have a lot of air counters. Then you really should be fine. win, you know, without too much issue. So I do waste a fireball on defense there, but guys, you can play safe. It's all right. I actually should have fireball on offense, really, but it's all right. At that point, with that, now he definitely doesn't have anything. And even if I didn't take his tower, I actually think that I would have been able to defend. So really, not a hard matchup. Just gotta play it right. Okay, guys, we now have the double barrel bait deck that I was previously talking about. This deck, if they don't have rocket, is really easy because your skeleton dragons are just quite frankly overpowered. Also, a lot of the time, skeleton or double barrel bait or skeleton barrel, goblin barrel bait, it doesn't run princess, which is very good for you. Unfortunately, both of these matchups did have it, but a lot of them, they won't run it with princess. They'll run it with like you know, like skeletons or something cheap to cycle. So keep that in mind. Now, I do go for the barbarians in the back to try to predict a goblin barrel, but instead he just goblins, which, you know, that's all right. I do get a decent amount of elixir from that anyway. I do fireball the dark up as well, but the big thing about this matchup is just trying to make it to double elixir, so that way, you know, you can live long enough to have elixir to support your pushes. Now, I know that sounds weird, but really the thing is, if you go for Lavaloon pushes in single, you don't have the elixir to go for fireballs on the Dark Goblin or like zaps on the Inferno towers, and so you kind of need the elixir to be able to do that if you want to win the game. So you really do have to wait till double elixir to be going for big pushes. I mean, you guys saw I already went for one, and it just didn't go very well. So, you know, you just gotta chill. The balloons, you can go a little aggressive just to apply some pressure. You know, sometimes they'll get good, you know, good results. Like here, look at that, guys. He had the Inferno Tower and delivery, which puts me so much up in elixir, which is, you know, a really good, obvious situation. He goes for a princess at the bridge, and I can just barbarians that, and really overall I'm just looking really good. So with a simple fireball, you know, a very good predictive fireball to catch those goblins, just like that, guys, he's gonna crumble. And honestly, the amount of elixir that you force your opponent to spend on defending this matchup is really what makes it so winnable. And also the fact that he doesn't have rocket will, you know, you could just stack up everything. I mean, guys, look at this: Mega Minion, Lava Hound, Balloon, Skeleton Dragons. We zap, and just we have so many units on the board that he just would not be able to defend no matter what, unless he has rocket, of course, or something like that. But now we are even. Once you get to even, you can just play really passive, and he really should never be able to break through. You know, you have your fireball and stuff. I do go for the Goblin Bear or the Mega Minion in this case, but a lot of the time, you know, you'll have to go for a fireball or something. But just by stacking up units, you should be able to win this game or this matchup pretty easy. I mean, guys, look at all my units. I have two Skeleton Dragons. That's it. 2 Mega Minions. So much. Force out the Royal Delivery early. That way the lava pups are going to be impossible to kill. And guys, now look at everything on his tower. It's going to be so hard to defend. Unfortunately, my Loon didn't get that second drop. But, you know, it's whatever. Skeleton Dragons with a fireball put me basically in spell range. I'm going to have to defend a little bit longer just to ensure that, you know, we were all good. But we are a fireball and I believe 2 zaps away, which is, you know, slightly annoying that it couldn't be 1. I'm just going to try to apply some pressure, try to get him to, you know, quit. Unfortunately, he's not going to go for it. He will play this game out, but fair play there. I do go for a bad set of barbs here. It doesn't really matter, guys. Like I said, look at how easy it is to defend with the fireball and stuff. There's really nothing your opponents can do. You shut them down. They really are hopeless, and it's brutal, guys. It really is for them. Your pushes, when they don't have the rocket, guys, when they don't have the rocket, bait should be an extremely easy matchup, as you can just go for stuff like this where you stack up Barb, Skeledrex, Balloons, Mega Minions, and just absolutely overwhelm your opponents. Okay, guys, the next matchup I have for you is it's a weirder deck. It's Mega Knight Wall Breakers, which is, you know, not too weird, but the weird thing is he has Firecracker instead of the classic Musketeer. So, you know, slight difference there. This matchup is pretty easy as long as they don't have a heavy spell. If they have a heavy spell and they can kill your Skelly Drags, then you kind of will be in a tough spot. But in this matchup, like most Mega Knight wall breakers, he doesn't. So, you know, we're looking good. Your Barbarians get a lot of value. You really just gotta save the Barbs for the Mega Knight every time. Zap for the Bats. And then, honestly, you can Fireball the Muskie, or, you know, you can just kind of full send with Lavaloon pushes. Like I said, they don't really have the heavy spells to defend, and you could just zap the Bats. And a Musketeer on its own, it just won't be enough. Just like this Firecracker won't be enough. So, you know, definitely there in that way. You know, this is not that tough a matchup. Really, you just gotta spam your lavas. I mean, literally on this replay that I'm showing you guys, first matchup. I mean, just look, guys. He's down, what is it, 2,000 damage almost? Not quite, but about. And really, he won't be able to break through. Also, this deck, guys, I don't know if you've realized it by now, but the defensive capability is actually insane. With the Mega Minion, the Tombstone, Barbarian, Skeleton Drags, like, there's just so many, like, overpowered defensive cards in this deck that get a ton of value. But Mega Knight, really, it's not that tough, guys. You just gotta, like I said, make sure you seam lane the Mega Knight, and honestly, you should be fine. You have Tombstone for the wall breakers, Zap for the Bats, Fireball for the Muskie. Miner just doesn't get enough damage to have to even worry about it, but you can, like, Mega Minion or Skelly Drags it, and he really can't stop your Lavaloon push. So, really easy matchup. I still got 60 seconds here. I guess I'll just talk over this game, because really I'm going to defend, guys. I know you've seen me do it before here. I just, you know, defend games out a lot of the time. Or I will, you know, force them to defend so much that they aren't able to actually attack. It doesn't really matter which choice I go for. You know, in this one I try to do that second option where, you know, I force them to defend. He just chose not to defend. But it doesn't even matter, guys, because look, I literally took his whole tower, basically. So, you know, instead of playing risky and trying to defend this tower, I just go for the tower trade, willing to, you know, lose one, not a big deal, really doesn't matter. Like I said, you know, I probably could have defended that one tower, guys, but was it worth it to do that when I could just defend, cycle a couple fireballs, and finish this game out? Or not even cycle a couple fireballs, just, you know, finish the game with one fireball. So, there you go. That's how you do it. Not really a hard matchup, like I said. Okay, guys, next up is the Siege decks category. Siege, if you don't know what that is, are the Xbows and the Mortars. Now, both these decks are actually very common and, you know, not rare to see in the meta. Both are very, you know, strong decks, especially the Mortar Skeleton Barrel Bait deck that I have it for this matchup that I'm showing you guys right now. I play against this deck a lot. I will say that much. It's like a scary amount, but it's not that difficult. You really just gotta play good defense, get to double Elixir, or just in general against both Siege decks. You want to tower trade, guys. Tower trading is your key to success. You know, if you can go opposite lane, trade towers with your opponent, they really won't be able to defend nearly as well as they want to, I guess you could say. I mean, without the you know, being able to counter push with their Siege decks, it just doesn't go well. You could play units right on top of their, you know, Mortar or Xbow. It just makes it so much easier. So the big thing against both these decks is you want to go opposite lane and try to tower trade. And guys, boom, right here. Look at what I do. He Mortars, I Lava Hound opposite lane. If that was an Xbow, I would have hounded opposite lane. Let the tower go. It's not a big deal. Focus on the offense, because it is very hard for them to defend without the building. Xbow is obviously tougher for that reason, that they have the second building, you know, with Tesla. And guys, I actually miss a fireball here. Guess what? It doesn't matter. We take the tower anyway, and now that tower's down, guys, our defense is just so much easier. There really was nothing he could do. We're now winning. when just before we were losing and it didn't look like a good situation. You know, my tower was low, but by ignoring one mortar, going hard in the paint, I am now up a good amount. So once you have a tower down, though, you know, you can play really passive, just chill, and, you know, one Lavaloon push, or not one, it usually takes 3 probably Lavaloon pushes. But the big thing is that they just, with the help of your king tower, it's so hard for people to break through. So, but in general, you know, not that difficult a matchup. It looks bad right now with my, you know, him split laning his push and everything. I've lost half my right tower, but look at his left tower, guys. There's really nothing he's going to be able to do to defend. He chooses to fireball. He fireballed on defense. If he wanted to fireball on offense to take the tower, he would have lost his tower on the left. Actually, he loses the tower anyway. So that just kind of proves my point that once you go up a tower, guys, it's really easy to win. Okay, guys, next up, I have a off-meta siege deck with the Mortar Graveyard. Weird deck. If you do play against this, the big thing is you kind of got to combine your knowledge of siege decks with your knowledge against graveyard decks, which results in a very defensive mindset through single Elixir and a pretty aggressive one in double. You got to realize, you know, a big part with this deck that I've already discussed is realizing what spells your opponent has. If they have Fireball Zap, then, you know, your Barbarians and Skydrags aren't as valuable. If they have just like arrows, then your Skydrags are very valuable. So, big thing is trying to learn what your opponent has. This guy who I'm playing against, he goes for a very early Graveyard and Poison. That Poison is going to allow me to balloon without, you know, too much worry. And guys, just like that, I'm already like almost at his tower. I killed the Muskie and we're looking good. And so against this matchup, similar to many others, you're gonna want to, similar to many others, you're gonna want to take a lot of damage. Not obviously want to, but you should be willing to take a lot of damage. And basically, once again, you want to tower trade. The rule still applies against Graveyard. That tower trading is a good thing for the reason that Graveyard is, you know, when you have your king tower activated, it's a lot easier to deal with, to handle. So you should definitely always try to tower trade as much as possible. It is just such a helpful thing to have your king tower, you know, chipping away at the skeletons, or to be able to play your air units right on top of the you know, Xbow or Mortar in this case. So just kind of combine the knowledge there. Realize that, oh, hey, I need to tower trade no matter what, because in both these, you know, against both the archetypes that are in this deck, tower trading is the right play. So, you know, minute left, we're up 1,000 damage, which is actually not the best. It is possible that I, you know, could easily lose this tower to some bad graveyard RNG, but so, and then that's actually why I hound, guys. I know a lot of time I say don't hound once you have a game bagged up, but in this case, my opponent kind of realized he's dead. He was like, I'm gonna quit. Tosses the game. So we'll 3-crown here in just a second, but you can definitely see what I mean about, you know, realizing what spells they have and what you need to do in each specific matchup. And in this one, similar to Siege and similar to Graveyard, you need to tower trade or just play really aggressive and take one tower early, which lets you win in double Elixir. Okay, guys, the next matchup here, Xbow 2.9 Cycle. I know that you guys struggle with this deck. I've had so many comments asking for, you know, oh, Tony, how do you beat 2.9? 2.9 Xbow, how do you beat it? How do you beat Xbow? So many things, so many people asking, so many, like, just curious, you know, how do you do it? So, the biggest thing is that you want to tower trade, guys. And any means necessary. A good Xbow player, they won't let you tower trade, but a bad Xbow player, like the one that I'm playing against, they'll let you. I mean, guys, I just won the game in the first push. Literally, I'm a minute in, I've already beaten this Xbow player. He was pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. He's nothing special, but this is a perfect example of what you need to do if you want to beat Xbow, because Xbow is a very tough matchup. You don't have enough ground units to counter. It's just, you know, you just don't have enough. You really don't. But if you can get a tower down, even if your tower has like half health and his at full, you are in an infinitely better position than like the start of the game. So here we are. Opposite lane tower is gone. Always opposite lane as well. Same lane does really nothing. You're still in a bad spot. Opposite lane towers are gone. We can now Lava Hound because we have these Skeleton Dragons. We have the Barbarians. We have so many counters if he tries to go for an Xbow. So, he is, of course, with that Tesla pre-planted, going to Xbow here in just a second, I believe. Yep. So, we're just going to Skelly Drags. Point of those Skelly Drags is to force out the Fireball, and if he Fireballs, I go Barbarians. So, there's the Fireball. We go for the Barbarians. Also, I think he misplayed that Xbow, and I didn't realize it, but it's fine. You know, for the point of this video, we'll just say that he did play that correctly. And let's say I'm down like 400 health on my tower. Guys, I'm not going to lie, it won't matter. I mean, look at his tower. He's already crumbling. Like I said, once you have one tower down and you can play units in the pocket, this matchup is so easy. And guys, I really don't have a lot to say. Just try to force them to go like Xbow Tesla at the bridge. Just force them to do something stupid. Try to make them make the mistakes. Try to get them to go over aggressive and then just ignore the Xbow and full send with your Lavaloon push on the opposite lane. Okay guys, now the last of these siege decks, the Mortar Skelly Barrel. I already kind of showed this one as the intro to Siege game, but I will be going more in depth. This deck is, you know, not that hard of a matchup. You know, it's definitely winnable. Sometimes you'll have like very bad situations. I mean guys, did you see what I just did there with that Loon at the bridge? I had a bad starting hand. I didn't have Zap for the Skeleton Barrel, but I can't take that damage early in the game. You don't want to take like much damage at all early in the game. And ignoring a Skelly Barrel or like only a Mega Minion to defend a Skelly Barrel, it's not enough. It's way too much damage. You can't do it. So I had to go for an offensive Loon and then Zap. So, you know, sometimes you got to go for weird plays, but he actually spent 6 Elixir for that Mortar and Spear Gob. So, you know, things trade off. But I will say, guys, this Mortar player is actually pretty good. So, you'll see just a sec here. You know, he's competent at the very minimum, making some okay plays. But we defend nicely on that first. He does have archers, which is, you know, weird because normally it's Goblin Gang, but it's whatever. It's not a huge deal. This Mortar actually won't get a lot of value. And guys, look at how low health those archers are. One actually dies. I can zap the Spear Gods, and just like that, we are going to get 2 drops early in the game, which puts us at a great position. If you can take down 1 tower with this deck, you should be able to defend quite easily. The biggest issue, you know, like for like, you know, a lot of matchups with Lava is actually taking the tower. And guys, I've also had a lot of people ask, Tony, why do you like Lava Hound first play? It seems so risky. It seems like stupid, you know. You can get starting hand, all this. Guys, with these Lavaloon decks, if you are able to defend, then you should be able, or sorry, no, I ruined my own statement. If you're able to take a tower, you should easily be able to defend for the rest of the game. And guys, just like this one, I lava it early, took his tower, and now look at me. I'm playing like a turtle. I'm just doing nothing. I haven't lavaed this whole time. I've just been cycling air units in the back. I mean, look, Skelly Drags in the back, just like that. Cycling Barbarians for the Mortar. Guys, once you get 1 tower down, I'm telling you, the defensive capability of this deck is insane. You have literally a lot of the best, like the absolute best defensive units in the game. So, try to use them. If you take a tower, guys, you basically win the game against a lot of matchups that you shouldn't be able to win. This Mortar is a perfect example. Xbow is a perfect example. There's so many that you can starting hand just by lavaing first play. So, we do win this game here. Close it out. Nice strong dub there. And, I mean, you guys saw, I just defended the whole second half of that game. So, you know, keep that in mind against a lot of these matchups. Okay guys, the next section of this video is, you know, as we get to the end here, this is probably one of the weirder ones. The, quote-unquote, build-up section. I didn't really know what to name it. It's a very weird category, and, you know, honestly, a lot of decks could go in here, for different reasons, but I have kind of picked ones that play very defensive, very, you know, slow-paced, and honestly, they just don't fit in with anything else. A perfect example is Splashyard. It's a very meta deck. It's very strong. I don't know where to put it, guys. I mean, like, tell me of all the other categories you've seen, a good place to put Splashyard, and I'll wait, because really there's been nothing, no category that it would fit in with. It's definitely not Cycle, you know. I'm actually not going to go one by one through the categories, but you know, it doesn't fit. But I made a section called Buildup, and this has some of these counter meta decks that are, you know, pretty tough to deal with for the pure fact that they have a ton of air counters, and a lot of the time you'll get in really bad situations, whether it be due to misplay, like I just missed a fireball on this Musketeer, and it's actually going to cost me the game, or not the game, sorry, my whole tower, or, so, you know, whether it be a misplay or just a bad matchup. I mean, guys, look at all the air units he has. He has Goblin Hut, Musketeer, minions, and that's just what we've seen so far. And then he also has the Barbhut to tank for my Lavaloon push with. So, you know, very, very difficult looking matchup, but it actually is pretty winnable, guys, and I'll show you why. I mean, I'll show you how, you know, by the end of this game. But a lot of these build-up decks are very difficult for Lava because you can't kill their support units or like the things that they build up with, but at the same time, a lot of them are also not too hard. So, for example, a lot of the graveyard decks are very, very easy matchups for Lava. Your barbarians just get so much value. It's absolutely insane. But at the exact same time, you have matchups like this one where, you know, you really, it's tough to break through. It's very hard to break through for obvious reasons. I mean, this guy's a bunch of buildings. You know, it's tough. And then also, I've included another, like one of the other weird decks that I've included here is the Splashyard, or not Splashyard, sorry, RG Lightning. There we go. That is another weird matchup for this deck, for this deck, because it doesn't quite fit with RG Cycle. You know, it doesn't make sense. It's infinitely heavier, but you know, it's definitely a common meta deck. So I gotta find somewhere for it. And Buildup is perfect because, you know, they build up Ewiz, then a Mega Man, and then they RG. It's almost a beatdown deck, but, you know, I feel like it also fits in with this build-up category. A lot of these beatdown decks do go with this whole build-up theme, but, you know, that's not the point here. I'm just kind of trying to talk about more like the spawner-type decks. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I went a little over on my time. I didn't realize how much I was talking. I had to kind of make an abrupt cut, but first build-up deck that I have for you is Splashyard. Like I mentioned before, Splashyard, not a difficult matchup. It's really not that hard just because you have the Barbarians for the Graveyard. And, I mean, literally first push of the game, guys, you're going to see the absolute power of the Barbarians here, as they are going to absolutely shred through this Graveyard and the Night. An 8-for-3 or 8-for-5 Elixir trade, and we have 4 counter pushing Barb. So, very good. We have the Lava opposite lane, and now we have a Balloon. Now, at this point, guys, we have so many units down. We've applied so much pressure that, you know, we're already looking really good. Unluckily, he has Bomb Tower. If he had Goblin Cage, we'd be in a much better spot. Unfortunately, he's got the Bomb Tower, so, you know, it's going to be a little bit tougher. But at the same time, you know, it's good to know now we found out his building. We know how to beat Bomb Tower. Bomb Tower, the thing I'll say is you can't stack as many units against Goblin Cage or even like Barbhut. I think I have a Barbhut later, but against Goblin Cage, you're able to, you know, go like Mega Minion, Balloon, Lava Hound, obviously, and then like Skelly Drags also sometimes. And against a Bomb Tower, you can't do that because they'll get really good Bomb Tower death damage value with like their NATO or, you know, just, you know, good placement. So you got to be careful there. Also, the NATO allows him to activate King with the Bomb Tower against your Balloon, which is tough. So, you know, you got to keep those things in mind. But in general, guys, this matchup is quite easy because you can kill his support units so easily. He has nothing for your Skeleton Dragons. He has to poison them every single time. And, you know, when he poisons, you still have a lot of time in which the Skelly Drags actually deal damage. So, it's an even Elixir trade that turns into a positive Elixir trade because the Skelly Drags actually give value. So, on offense, you can see right here, this is a perfect example. Skelly Drags going to work on the Ewiz. Icewiz, sorry. He still hasn't been able to kill them. You know, and just like that, a little bit of lag there. That was weird. You also could see the Bomb Tower death damage getting his work there. But guys, look at his tower. Look at how low health it is. He's all the way down to 2200. And now he has gone for another Graveyard poison push. And I've just ignored it. And now look at him trying to defend here. So even though I'm going to lose this tower, guys, it's worth it. Because against Graveyard, if you tower trade, you basically win. So, you'll see here in just a second how this is going to work. Everything dies, including my Mega Minion, but full health Balloon will get to tower. No way really he defends that. He goes straight back in aggressive with the the Night Graveyard push. You know, pretty standard stuff. He goes for NATO just to try to like save some damage from his King Tower, which is well played and smart. So, you know, fair play there. But in general, guys, you can just Lava Hound. And as long as you have Barbs, you know, if you think you get back to Barbs in time, you really shouldn't struggle that much with your defense. So you'll actually see me do defend without Barbs here for once. Just with Mega Man Skeleton Dragons. Because once you get your King Tower activated, like I mentioned in the Mortar Graveyard replay, once you get that King Tower activated, guys, it's a bad time for your opponent. So here, though, I do go for an interesting play. Instead of looning right behind my Hound, I decided to go for a second Lava Hound. Because like I said, guys, look at how hard it is for him to kill these Lava Hounds. That thing lasted so long. If you can get 2 on the board, he really just won't be able to break through. Not enough time, not enough damage just to kill. So he NATOs it back, but not enough. Balloon gets the drop, finishes the game. There you guys go. Not a hard matchup. Just make sure that you always have those Barbs to the Graveyard and your Skelly Drags and stuff on offense. Okay, guys. Next matchup is RG Lightning. I already mentioned this matchup. I already mentioned the deck. How, you know, it didn't fit in any other categories like some of these other decks. You know, they don't fit in. So I kind of made this weird section of Buildup for that reason. Well, it really is kind of just, you know, similar to Beatdown. But RG Lightning isn't that difficult. The big thing is you just can't give him a lot of value. You know, having Skeleton Dragons is super helpful because of how much value they get. He actually goes for a really early, interesting Lightning on my Skelly Drags, which, you know, allows me to Lava Hound. And he's going to have a rude awakening here, guys, because my Barbarians, they get so much value against the Royal Giant. So the second that he plays any Royal Giant, he's just not going to have a fun time because my Barbarians will just swipe it up super easily. Like I said, by the way, that was a really good Mega Man on my part predicting that he was. But like I said, you know, the Royal Giant, not having Fireball to kill the Barbarians, it's super hard for him to break through. While in reality, I can break through quite easily. I mean, I literally just took his tower, so, you know, proving my points as we're going. But, like I said, as long as you guys, okay, big thing, don't ever waste your Barbarians on anything other than a Royal Giant. I mean, obviously, you know, except for a couple niche scenarios, but really, guys, that's a good thing to get in your head against this Royal Giant Lightning, or any, like, Royal Giant Lightning deck, is don't waste your Barbarians on anything. There's no better value than just than Barbs on the Royal Giant. And here you guys will actually see that first set of Barbarians on the Royal Giant, and look at how well they cleaned up, guys. I mean, it's absolutely insane how strong they are on the defensive front for RG. But really, you should be able to break through with a couple Lavaloon pushes using your Fireball Zap on offense while defending all the same with your Barbarians against the Royal Giant. Absolutely just, you know, shutting your opponent down. So just like that, we snagged this 3 crown. Very strong game. And let's move on to the next match. Okay, guys, next matchup here is a little bit of a weird one. I'm not gonna lie. It's a traditionally easy matchup, but it actually is a hard counter, and I'll explain why. So this is, if you click the timestamp to find this one, because I'm pretty sure nobody at this point has watched this far in. If you have, guys, please tag this exact time. I will legit I'll love you forever if you respond that you made it this far in the video without skipping. Skipping is cheating. Don't do that. But, you know, if you made it that far, guys, well played. Kudos to you. But back to this matchup. The, you know, typically easy Graveyard matchup is going to be very, not very hard, but it's going to actually be a tough one here because he's got the Tornado. Now, normally Tornado, like against that Splashyard player, isn't a big deal. But here's the thing. He has Musketeer, Skeleton Dragons, Barbhut, and Tornado. Lots and lots and lots of air counters. Really makes his life super easy on defense, while he can still chip me with Graveyard Poison pushes on offense. So it will actually be a very tough matchup to break through with. But at the same time, make sure you save your barbarians, and you know it's definitely winnable. You know, based on the fact that you're seeing this match tells you that it's winnable. But you can see actually how I defend this first one here. The Musketeer, like on my balloon, instead of going offensive, or like too offensive, I guess you could say, I just decide to fireball and then, you know, kind of take a lot of damage. Once again, guys, I'm sure you've heard me say this. Tower trading is very good against Graveyard. So while it might look like I'm in a bad spot here, guys, tower trading is not a big deal. And while I don't quite take his whole tower, it doesn't matter. The tower is basically gone. All it takes is 2 zaps and a fireball if needed. Odds are, you know, I won't need to spend that much elixir because he'll probably just let it fall. There's really no point in him defending. As you can see, he just, you know, lets it go. So, once you get to this point, though, really the big thing is you just got to get good fireball value. You'll see me get good fireball value this whole matchup. And, I mean, look, right here, guys. I'm going to fireball the Musketeers and the 2 Skelly Drags. That is absolutely insane value. If you can ever get a fireball that juicy, take it all day. And although he will nearly stop he won't lose his tower to that Loon, we'll say. This lava in the pocket will be the nail in the coffin. Really not much he could do here. He tried to Barbhut to keep it off. Not much he could have done there. As you can see, it's definitely a winnable matchup. Just by spamming your air counters, like not your air counters, but like your, you know, all your defensive units, you should be able to win. Okay, guys, the last of the build-up decks. The double spawner piggies deck. I actually played against this deck 4 times while playing these challenges, which is really weird. So I was like, you know what, I gotta include it, right? And I actually did include it twice. You know, the first one was the intro of the build-up section, and the second one is obviously, you know, right now for this game to go over this specific matchup, because it is a very tough matchup. Like I said, he's able to heal his Musketeer. He has minions. He has Goblin Hut. I think he has, what else? Oh, he has Barbhut. You know, he just has a lot of counters that make it very difficult to deal with. So, he will Musketeer my first Loon. At this point, guys, this one was after, or not after, this one was before the other one, so I didn't actually see the deck, so I didn't know it had Musketeer. You know, you rarely see Musketeer and minions in the same deck, other than like Sparky and Balloon, but, you know, this is, I mean, they're running it, and it's working, so what can I say? But the key to winning this matchup is playing slow. In the intro video, I lose a tower early because of a misplay, and you can't be doing that if you want to win this. You just can't afford to, quite frankly. So it's a lot better to play very slow. I mean, guys, I leak a lot of elixir there, kind of debating what to do. I screwed that up, honestly. I'm pretty sure I lagged a little bit, but it's whatever. But here we go on offense, guys. We always want to same lane your Barbhuts, and when you do that, just watch this Loon, because he does struggle with killing Loon, especially with Skelly Drags, guys. The Skelly Drags cover your Loon. Basically, they don't let him minions is the big thing, because if he goes for minions like he just did, you know, they won't get any value. I do accidentally misclick a fireball. It was meant to be a zap, so that's what that was. You know, highly unfortunate back-to-back, or, you know, against this matchup back-to-back, wasting my fireballs on like nothing. It's tough. It definitely is. So I will actually take a ton of damage on my tower here. I mean, as you can see, the Muskie locked and everything. We're looking really bad, you know, not good, down 500. But guys, we're in double elixir, and this is when this deck shines, because you are able to out-pressure him so hard. And you'll see exactly what I mean here with this Balloon, Skelly Drags, Lavaloon, or Lava Hound push. And that should be your main push every time in this matchup, is Lava Hound, Balloon, Skelly Drags. Because realistically, there's nothing he can do to stop it. The Skelly Drags, once again, kill the minions, like I said, while the what's it called, the Lavaloon goes and actually does the bulk of your damage on tower. So just like that, we are going to win this game, although it was pretty close, but I probably could have won in double or in overtime. So, you know, no sweat there. Okay, guys, the off-meta / counter-meta, or not counter-meta, the off-meta / counter decks, which kind of, you know, sometimes go hand-in-hand. I tried to pick out ones that do go hand-in-hand. But these are the matchups that I hear a lot from you guys about down in my comments. The wizard executioner minion hordes, those types. Unfortunately, I actually didn't play any that weird. But you know, I'm more gonna talk over what to do. So the actual gameplay, you know, what I'm playing isn't the hardest matchups, but I'm gonna be referring to these really hard matchups. Now, the biggest thing you have to do is you have to realize a weakness. Now, I know that's very broad and sounds very weird, but what I mean is you have to find one specific thing in your opponent's deck that you can capitalize on. Now, let's say they have wizard, minion horde, like all that, but and then you look at their spells and they only have zap or they only have arrows. Those are the moments when you realize, I don't think that if I play correctly, I don't think that he can defend well. And that is what you need to have. You need to like be able to do. Is you need to just realize one thing that you can capitalize on that your opponent, you know, he can't do something about. So let's say he has like an executioner wizard, like that's my go-to example, and then you have no heavy spell. You should always like lava same lane as them and then go for Skelly Drags, because you know that he's not going to be able to stop your skeleton dragons. And that one, like realizing that one unit that, you know, gets a lot of value and then just capitalizing on it will actually allow you a lot of the time, because a lot of the time these players aren't very good. And so by realizing those one specific things, it'll open the door to you, and you'll be able to win just based on, you know, half the time, guys, I don't even go for a Lavaloon push against the off-meta stuff. Or if I do, I usually go Lavaloon Skelly Drags with like a fireball. You really have to be careful. If you like burn your Skelly Drags and they get just, you know, destroyed by something stupid and like a wizard kills them, yeah, you're probably going to lose. I'm not going to lie, you almost deserve it at that point. You know that you can't play bad against them, you know. You can't play stupid against hard counters like that, and if you do, it's kind of your fault, you know, if you lose. So you got to really realize when when you have a bad matchup, what do you need to do to win? And I will say a lot of the time that comes with the skeleton dragons, which are super strong and honestly let you win a lot of terrible matchups, which is why I love them so much. You know, they just open the door, because if you can tank for them and, you know, allow them to just shred through his defensive units that are giving you issue, whether it be an Inferno Dragon, 3 Musketeers, Hunter, your Skelly Dragons can kill all of these because of the massive amount of DPS they have, guys. So, just here in this replay, 3M player tosses the towel in. I'm going to talk more about this and not as much the specific matchups in these next ones. But for now, we're going to cut because we just got the dub, and I'll be back with the next match. Okay, guys, the second example I have is a Mega Knight Inferno Dragon Musketeer deck. Like I said, those decks with a lot of air counters are very difficult. But, once again, Skelly Dragons will be your window. You gotta remember that, guys. I know it sounds weird, but Skelly Drags, that is your card. Tombstone, a lot of the time, doesn't get value. Your Lava Hound, half the time, just gets shredded. But I recommend playing a very safe single Elixir. Try to take as little damage as possible, and then just play a super clean, really good defense, but also at the same time very good offense, you know, game, and you should be able to, you know, win fine. So if you are like beginning a game and you're quickly realizing, you're like, oh god, guys, or like, oh god, I think he has one of these off meta hard counters, you at that moment should go nice and slow and start to, you know, play really passive at that point. And, you know, think through your plays. Like, if I do this, what does he do? If I do this, what does he do? And, you know, if you think through everything and you think, oh, he's going to go Pekka Wizard, and then you lava the same lane as the Pekka, and then you just kill the Wizard with, like, a Mega Minion, well, now you've just shut down his push because your Tombstone gets value. So you really just got to think about things a lot more linearly. Oh my god, I can't say that word. I'm moving on. But you just got to think about it, you know, a lot more, you know, predictively is what the word I'm going to use, because it's a lot better. Instead of, you know, thinking, oh, I wonder, or like, oh, he did this, think, oh, what will he do? And when you can start to, you know, realize what they're going to do ahead of time, then you actually are able to defend a lot easier. And guys, I just made a big mistake there with that hound. Remember how I said don't hound until double elixir? This is why. He pulled a Mega Knight out of his butt, and I had nothing. I was not ready for it at all. And honestly, I lost my tower. So, you know, I screwed up. I deserved to take that tower loss there. But at the same time, it wasn't bad enough that I lost the game. I realized in certain matchups, guys, I could have lost the game for doing that misplay. I do realize that. I understand the pain of, you know, one small misplay, one lava hand in single elixir costing you the entire game. I do understand. So you just gotta be safe, guys. Try to play nice and slow and get good value with your Skelly Dregs and your Mega Minion. Okay, guys, next up is a Mega Knight Loon deck. Like I said, these are all really weird non-meta decks. Honestly, the point isn't to go over this specific matchup, but I'm just trying to, you know, have something up while I talk through these games, because it would be kind of boring if I just talked with, you know, no gameplay. So that is what I'm currently doing here. Mega Knight is a very common one as well, guys. I'm sure you guys know this if you're in mid-ladder. Mega Knight is like the king of mid-ladder. He's very, very, very difficult and annoying to deal with for a lot of mid-ladder players. But once he's out of hand, a lot of the time they won't have great answers. They might rush with like E-Barbs, but, you know, you can actually take a lot of damage and go aggressive with, or not go aggressive, but go defensive with your Skelly Drags and the counter push. You know, a hound that early game is that early in the game is actually quite scary, but you know, sometimes you gotta go for it. But kind of unfortunate sequence. I mean, you can see why I've included the matchup here, just bit like, you know, all the air counters. Inferno Tower is a card that I didn't really talk about because honestly I didn't play it. I mean, I didn't even have a classic bait deck to show you guys, which, you know, sucked. So I'll kind of talk over it real quick. Inferno Tower in general, on what to do against it. If it's classic bait, then I recommend not going, or like you can go for like a balloon to like tank for your lava almost against the Inferno Tower. Force him to and then you zap, and then you force him to either rocket or your lava hound lives at full health. And guys, the big thing against bait players is their only counter to your lava hound is their building. Whether it be a Tesla or an Inferno Tower, they really only have one, and there's just not a lot they can do. So if you you know, you play smart and you kill the Inferno Tower with like your balloon, and your lava hound has a decent amount of health, you should be able to win the game pretty easily, honestly. So, you know, just like here, my okay, well in this case, because he doesn't have a rocket, I will go for, you know, try to get my Loon healthy, and just like that, I will take his tower on the left, and then I'll take his tower on the right. And guys, this looks like a really tough matchup. He has E-Wiz, Ice-Wiz, Inferno Tower, something else that I can't remember that counters there also. Lightning, that's right. He has got a lot of counters. He's also terrible. But here's the thing, a lot of these off-meta decks, the players are terrible, and you gotta learn to think, how can I beat these terrible players? And so just like this, I will be 3-crowning him. Like I said, guys, I kind of shut him down when it looked like a tough matchup, but I still was able to shut him down quite easily, get the 3-crown. So we'll be back with the final, or okay, I guess it's gonna just start because, you know, my editing is a little off here. But, you know, here's the last matchup. I believe it is a Pekka balloon deck, which is interesting is the word I'm gonna choose. I'm pretty sure this one's not as hard countery. This one's more just off meta. I ran out of games, guys. You gotta remember, I recorded 4 hours of gameplay, and I'm giving you 2 hours of gameplay. I cut all losses, and I cut all duplicates. You gotta think about how much, like what percent. I'm including half. That means that my win rate had to be like 75%, and then the duplicate games was like 1 1/3. And that would have to be the math for you guys to get this many games. I mean, 40 or whatever games is absolutely insane. And I mean, a 2-hour video is also really intimidating. I'm pretty sure at this point I'm not even talking to anybody because everybody's just gone. It's 2 hours. It's insane. So, but if you're here, well played. Kudos to you. Back to talking about my counter meta decks and how to beat them. I mean, I've really covered everything. Play slow, get good Skelly Drake value or Mega Man value depending on what his spells are. A lot of the time, off-meta decks, they don't have a Fireball, which is why I specifically pointed out Skelly Drags. Because, guys, Skelly Drags in general, if your opponent doesn't have a Fireball, and even if they have, like, Poison, they get so much value. It's stupid how much value they get. It's actually, it's legit insane. It's crazy how much value they get. So, you know, but at the same time, you can always go for the Mega Minion, the safe option, and really just, you know, if you could defend against them, and because a lot of the time, these over-level decks, they're not going to have a win condition, or like a real one. They'll have like E-Barbs and Mega Knight, and neither of those units, if you play correctly, should ever hit your tower. And that is a good like habit to learn, is how to defend against those off-meta weird E-Barb, you know, Mega Knight decks. How do you defend against those very cleanly? Because once you get the defense down, guys, they're not going to get any damage. Like, at all. Like, they're legit going to get 0 damage, because if you know how to fully shut them down, you know, how are they going to hurt your towers if you know how to completely counter them without allowing, like, any breaks? So, in this Pekka matchup, by the way, guys, I am kind of currently choking, not playing ideal, but the Skelly Drags, you can see, getting good value. But like I said, really, a lot of the time, it's not as much about, oh, they're over-leveled, oh, they have E-Barbs, and I can't kill E-Barbs. Guys, E-Barbs are a joke. I eat E-Barbs for breakfast. If I see E-Barbs, I laugh. It's just so simple. It really isn't that hard to beat these counter meta decks. You got to just get in a good mindset, focus instead on the, what did I do wrong? How could I have defended this? By the way, my gameplay is out, so you're looking at a black screen. I'm sorry. I'm going to finish this thought, and then I will be done with this 2 hours of audio. My voice is killing me. But, you know, just focus on working on improving rather than complaining, basically. And I know that sounds like kind of like a dick move. Pardon the French. I don't like to cuss, but, you know, I know it kind of sounds like something scummy for me to say, but it really is true. Focus on improving, guys. You'll get better. It's a lot better than complaining. People who complain, they don't get better. They just, you know, they in their hearts, they might feel better, but they're not. But that really is it. That was it. Everything I got for you. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know, you know, any suggestions for a similar video. I mean, this was living hell to make, I'm not gonna lie, but maybe I'll do another one for like 2K subs, 5K. I don't really know. Not for a while. This was tiring, but thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Have a good night.